Flickety flick McFlew. Like that. Like that. Flick that there. Yeah, why not? Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Fantastic. G'day guys, we are on two places today. Voila. We're on TikTok and we're on, what's the other one called? X now, which is pretty exciting. Never streamed on X before, so I thought we'd give it a go. Now, today is a little bit unique. It's a little bit unique because we're starting off with some, I'll bring them into the shot here, if they come into it. TikTok probably needs to come, this one needs to come down a little bit so you can see it. There we go. So we've got a bunch of pigments and we've got a bunch of eggs. Let me bring it down there. There we go. So, size 8, better eggs. Better eggs, free range, 10 eggs. Fantastic. Now, to start the painting process, I need to get the tempera out of the eggs. And we're going to put that tempera in a few of these bowls. We're going to find our perfect ratio for tempera to pigment. And once we make a color, we'll add it to the picture behind us. That's the plan. That is the plan. Here we go. Let's grab a couple of these little plates. Uno, dos, tres. And then I'm just going to spin this a little bit this way, team. Hold fire for just a moment. There we go. Do. Okay, now we're all sorted. Perfect. Okay. I think we're all sorted. Are we all sorted? Possibly all sorted. We should be all sorted. That's hanging down a little bit too much. Almost all sorted. I'm loving it. There we go. She shot me down, bang, bang. I hit the ground, bang, bang. Sorted. There we go. All right, team. I think we're all done and dusted and ready to go here now. I've got myself some lovely eggs. And now I just need my pair of scissors to open them up one at a time. Hey, Jules, how we doing? Just going to sneak around here and get a little something something to help with the process here. And this. Like this. Like that. Here we go. All right. Hey, Ella. Hey, FIL. It's pretty exciting. Put that down there. Pick this up here and let's get started making our first pigment. I wonder if, to make it a bit more fun, I'll zoom you in just a little more. Thanks, Ella. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. It's very nice. Right. First egg. And the question is, what is our first color going to be? These are the questions. It's a good egg. Very runny. That's what we want. A nice runny yolk. Fantastic. Just gonna get all the whites out of there and just keep that little yolk. Voila. Perfecto. Am I doing Easter eggs? Not quite, but close. We are making, if I can get it off my hands there, egg tempera. So, first egg, pop. There's our yolk, fantastic. And that's the bit we're not going to use. And that, my lovely friends, is our first egg. South Africa, welcome. How do I deal with certain comments? Well, I answer them. Unless it's hateful and mean. I mean, constructive criticism or art critiques, always welcome. But when it's just downright someone who's hurt people, sometimes we give them some time to air out. Hey, Hayden. All right, next egg. Roll it around a little bit. And then cut and dunk. Perfect. Perfect. I think we're going to start off with, for the first colour, 3 eggs. Good question. So in terms of the eggs themselves, they are about $1.35 each. But make no mistake, team, paint is as expensive as this little egg process is. So you'd be kidding yourself if you think oil paint or acrylic paints are... I mean, eggs are definitely more expensive, actually. I agree with that. Steve, we're doing great. We're doing great. Steve, one wild card. You may notice on the table in front of me, I have a bunch of... Are you just out of... Oh, my lordy. You're out of that shot, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll fix that. 1 second. Here I am doing all this egg tempura stuff, and all you can see is just the eggs. I'll spin those around to there so you can see them. That's our bowl of goodies. And here's our... There you go. I'll spin these around, though. That's more fun that way. Perfect. So, Steve, a wild card here is... I'll just bounce that one there. There we go. Fantastic. 1 second, team. Delete that. Perfect. All right. I think I can see that. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay. Ooh. A little bit of dust in this one here. In fact, I might try and find... There we go. I'll grab this rag instead. This is better. So I'm waiting on some very, very nice pigments. These ones here are good. They're fun, but they're not quite to the quality of the ones that I want to be using for this project. So I'm picking them up later today to continue on with the next layer on our Hawaiian dancer from Maui. But for this work here, we can play with these. The reason why these are a little bit different is they are... Where's the term on them? It's not written on them, but it's more of a iridescent colour. So it actually reflects more, catches more shine, seems more like a metal, and I don't want that effect on the Hawaiian dancer. So, but I do want to use them up. So, if they're going to have a metal effect, the best place for them to go, chromatic? Yeah, sort of chromatic. The best place for them to go is on our Lady Liberty, because she's made of, it's copper, right? Copper plated. And it will smell like eggs for the first 20 minutes. You don't get used to it. What happens is the eggs, when mixed with the pigment and then applied to the surface, dry so rapidly fast that they lose their scent super fast. So the day after it, nah, nothing at all. Am I making scrambled eggs? Yeah, I am. Nah, so there is our start. Now I'm just going to grab some water. This is important. Here we go. A little bit of water. I'm going to add that. There we go. Into our egg there. I like to mix it with a paintbrush. Honestly, I'll have my eggs however they come. Eggnog's pretty fun. Eggnog gets a tick of approval for me. There we go. Just like that. So it's raining and it's windy outside. So today, Today is a day we're going to be inside making the tempura. And here it is. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. So there is a beautiful start to the beginning of an omelette. But the next step to do is to figure out the first colour off the ranks that we want. This one. Perfect. This is scarlet. You know a little of everything colour? I know about half as much as I need to know. There's so much to learn about colour. Pigments, the different ways they use them. You can get lost in one culture's understanding of colour and spend hours, days, years in it. But I try and find and cherry pick the best pieces of advice I can get my hands on and formulate that into something that works well. Taranaki's windy. Yeah, Hayden. Any egg puns? No. An egg pun. You'd have me scrambled. That was a bad one. There we go. All right, a little bit of water in here. And now since it's a powder, it needs to be mixed completely. So with the gouache, you'll notice we're a bit more bootleg with it. We mix it in half, splash it around. It doesn't really matter. But when it's the entire mix with the powdered pigment, every bit of powder needs to go. If it doesn't, it's kind of like pieces of flour inside a baking recipe. It just ruins the end result of the cake. You gotta mix it in. I have not tried at this stage, speaking of not knowing things, combining this egg tempura with different temperatures. I'm afraid the egg might cook, but that being said, you don't need to be talking about 100 degrees or 0 degrees. You can be talking in the realms of, say, 10 degrees to 25 degrees. Where is it best to be making tempura? Because we can control those conditions. We can have a fridge, we can have a very, very light heated stove. There's these options available to us to actually try and control the process more. At the moment, I've just been using room temperature, which I don't have a gauge here around me, but it's nice. So that's useful. But anyway, we've got our first colour. It's like a iridescent, glistening metallic salmon. So let's apply it. I'm just going to zoom you out there a little bit. There we go. Got our piece there. Got our paint. And let's put our lovely salmon colour on it. See where that takes us. Beautifully shiny, which is fantastic. Beautifully shiny. It's actually, I just had this thought that maybe I'd apply it to the Hula Girl, but actually it's a little bit, I'll just angle you up here a little bit, team. There you go. It's a little bit, what's the word? Glittery is the word. So it's got a metallic look to it, but I don't want a glittery look on the hula lady. I want depth and saturation of colour. So this is not going to give that, but it is going to give a metallic look. So it's the right thing to be playing with here. And we'll just dabble it round. Now basically as soon as this lands, it's drying. So the egg smell, it's a little bit because we cracked a few eggs, but actually shimmer, great word, yes. Ray, the correct terminology is shimmer. Ray, that was such a good comment, you made me lose my trail of thought. But here we go. It's very, very thin too, so we need to make sure we don't add it on too thick. Otherwise we get those running drips. And I like running drips as much as the next guy, but the problem with those is they don't really make it look like we're all that purposeful with where we were landing the paint. And I want to make sure every stroke looks wild, yet purposeful. Purposeful yet wild. whichever way around you say it. You know what I mean. Here we go. A little more over here. Probably, watching how this is reacting, I'm going to keep the pigment level the same for the next colour. Pigment level the same, but what we'll do is we'll reduce down the amount of water added, and that'll stop the running even more. Now, if the running stops even more, I can apply the paint even thicker. So, we've got plans. We've got plans, Stan. There we go. A little bit through here. Beautiful. And a little bit down through here. Across the face. There we go. It's amazing how you can layer this stuff. It's not really an ability that's given to a whole bunch of paints. It's kind of special, specifically for egg tempera. Especially when you do it with a bit of crazy abundance. Like to see it close up. I will zoom in on the painting in just a second. Let me just get this amount of paint down first, and then we can do some zooming. Some zooms. There we go. All through this background here. Bang. Perfect. Perfecto. And so, guys, just like I was saying before, sorry, Steve specifically, today, my pigments have finally arrived. So, when I say finally arrived, I've been working with the blue and the white, but I wanted to test some new popping pigments. And as you can see, with the way that blue's been turning out, in the most recent, I did 2 little drafts with it, and then I used it on the Hula Girl, and now I'm like, yes, this is the perfect color. Now I've got to go buy the magenta. Now the problem with this pigment is it's so cool and so bright, but the wild card with it, Steve, this is going to shock you. The wild card with it is the pigment itself, the magenta, is going to cost me $60 for a punnet this size. One little punnet of pigment, $60, but I'm not crazy. I am crazy, but not about this pigment. You need to pay that much to get that intensity in that color. The color fastness, the ability to combine. If you're going to make your own paint, you can use, well, it is, but the thing is, if you use the cheapest pigments or the cheapest paints, and then you watch them dry tacky, and they don't have that color pop to them, sometimes you just need to actually splash out. And for me, I buy, okay, confession, I buy cheap blues, and I buy cheap yellows and cheap greens. That's because the typical, for example, the blue we were using yesterday was a Series 1 blue, which means it's the cheapest blue, but it's my favorite. So I buy that. If the best one was more expensive, like with magenta, when it comes to pinks, the best pinks are usually Series 5. So they charge like 6 or 7 times as much. And you just have to pay it. Jessica, first off, welcome. This piece, we've done a whole bunch of layers on this piece. It's been pretty fun. It's gone through a whole bunch of renditions. But point is, guys, if you've got a favorite color and you love it and you're going to mix your own paint, make an exception for just a few of your favorites. And for me, that's magenta, hot pink, Venetian rosé, which is very similar to the color I'm using right now, but this is not the expensive version. This is just a regular rosé. But make a little exception. What's that song? You are only exception. You gotta agree with her. Just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Probably mixed up a wee bit much of this, if anything, but that's okay. But that's okay. And the whole way up the arm. That's what we're after. Then over the shoulder here, just a wee bit. And dribbling down here. Now to make it a little more fun, I'm going to keep this color, but I'm going to add just the colors slap. I love that. I love that. I'm going to add one of our other pigments. You know, it'd be cool if you guys could actually see the pigment colors we've got. So I'm going to lay this box here. There we go. I'm going to put the pigments up here on display. Here we go. Like a little wall or a shield. Here we are. These are all the ones we've got to work with on this fine day. And you're going to notice that a lot of them have this silvery touch to them. And now we're not going to use them all today. We might. I've only got 90 minutes, so probably not all of them today. But we will use a few of them. What one's that? What am I holding? Citrine. That's fun. Citrus colored. You in the middle there. And then we got, ooh, scarlet. That was one we just used up. Okay. Yeah, they're very metallic. So that is what we're dealing with here. And then I've got a big punnet. This is my very, very good white. And we're just going to put a little bit down. There we go. Into the scarlet. And that is going to give me more of a salmony peach touch to it. Just change it just a little bit. Oh, there we go. I'm hiding behind my little barrier there. Massive difference. Massive difference. This is good. Hello, Shawnee. Hey, it's been a hot minute, Shawnee. For a second there, I thought you'd run away permanently. And you can see now this is far less transparent because now we've got the pigment coming from the lovely white and the scarlet. And because of that double up of pigments, makes it twice as strong in terms of how transparent it actually is. So it's really going to go over the top and coat, which is kind of cool. Kind of controlling though. You have to be ready for that level of control. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. There we go. More across here. Layer it up, baby. It's going to be fun though. Once this runs out, I think we're going to go for a deep metallic blue. Just to keep it a wee bit wild. There we go. And through here. Just down in here, whole way down to the bottom. To the bottom. There we go. There we go. And a little bit more through here. Dabble. Devil. Perfect. Two pigments in there, nice and strong. I think we're going to add a third. What do we have in this little selection here? Cheers, Amanda. I've been painting for a long time. Too long. Too long, in fact. No, I've been painting since I was, well, really young. Really young, but it's not about how long you've been painting. What's the saying? It's not about the amount of breaths that you take, but the quality of those breaths. No, the amount of moments that take your breath away. Now it's coming back to me. Here we go. Next one. But no, I love painting, guys. It's what I do. There we go. A little bit of that in there. Put that one over there. Get our smaller brush back. Ooh, not blue, Jessica. This is going to be a bit of a shake-up because this is black. Whew, choked on a little bit of saliva there. Thanks, Jeff. You're a champion, mate. I appreciate that. You're in a fun session today too, Jeff, because we're making our own paint. It feels good when you make your own paint, though. It feels authentic. Here we go. Deep grey. Michael, what are the eggs for? Well, I'll tell you what, Michael, you hang around and you might just find out. Here we go. Splash a little bit of that through there. Then down through here. And across here. Let's just keep these colours rocking on in. And this face here just a little bit. There we go. See that grey colour? It's grey, but it's also slightly metallic, which is pretty cool. There we go. And down through here. Just a lot more. That deep grey. Going in all directions. Oh, Jessica, you thought... Okay, I'm following now. I'm following. Yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying. It will look like blue when it was the pigment, but no, it was actually carbon black pigment. But now it's combined with that scarlet we had and the white, we get a much more chill, toned back grey, which is kind of good because it's not going to rip the painting to pieces, pieces as it tries to define it. But it's going to jump over the top and just gently structure things, tell us where it wants things to go. And we can just bounce off that and have some fun. You like it? That's good, Jessica. I did. But for the full information of how Seb came to be, the best place to go is the link in my bio. There's it's on the About Me page or the My Story page, or I forget exactly what it's called. Impressionist artist. I consider myself to be, I mean, I'm going to sound like a proper artist here, but I find the usual definitions of saying he's an impressionist artist or he does, he's a nature artist or a landscape artist somewhat limiting. It's like, it's good in the way that you can use it as a defense mechanism to battle with things like imposter syndrome. If you don't fully feel like you are a landscape artist or you are a portrait artist or a portrait painter or an animal painter or whatever it is you are, I totally get that. But typically locking yourself into a movement that's been, Impressionism sort of happened. There's post-Impressionism, but that sort of happened too. And so I guess we could say these things influence a style a little bit from who your favourite painters are. Yeah, you could safely say this is kind of inspired by Van Gogh-ish. Picasso, Burnt Trail, I suppose. But is that the whole picture? Or is it the most useful way to define it? Would it be best to talk about the artists themselves? Maybe not, but maybe. We use a lot of colour, we use a lot of expression, we use a lot of movement, and we see where that takes us. If that takes us to the direction of Impressionism, then hello Impressionism, we're coming for a visit. If that takes us in the direction of realism, then hello realism, let's hang out. Usually, there's no telling where it's going to take us. It gets a little bit wild. We lose it, we bring it back, we play with it, There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Is it not uncomfy? Nah, they're actually stretch jeans. They're very, very comfy. But a lot of artists paint in jeans. And if you want to ask about something uncomfortable, you want to talk about the likes of aprons. Aprons are awful. Hard to move in. Hard to move in. Here we go. Let's get a little bit through here. Stroke these lines. And a little bit down the bottom. Perfecto. All the way across. Big, strong licks too. There we go. Lots of paint. And yes, this is egg. And the reason it's egg, Bright Eyes, the reason it's eggs is, if you think about it, it's really not that weird. You're like, but no, you should be using synthetic paint. Well, the synthetic paint, even the stuff that comes from oil painting and things, yes, it's got its... If it was completely organic, it would just be oil, linseed oil. And arguably quite good for you. Rancid, maybe, but not that all unhealthy. Not all that unhealthy. It is loaded with a whole bunch of pretty extreme solvents to help it dry, usually fast drying stuff inside oils. But that being said, one's made with oil, one's made with water, and one's made with egg yolk. It's really much of a muchness. What's more important than the medium? What's more important than the medium is, what are you trying to capture? How are you trying to do it? Do you want that fast dry speed? Do you want a slow dry speed? Do you want something that leaves layering or shining behind? You got a bunch of options. You got a bunch of options. All right. Okay. That's all sorted. Now let's get a plate. Here we go. One of these can come down here. Voila. Next egg. Just going to move those pigments out of the way on their little train. And we're going to get the egg and open it on up. Perfect. There we go. I always find the best way to separate the whites from the yolks is to actually just split the egg in half, because the edge of the shell actually acts as a sort of knife to cut the whites away. There we go. Beautiful. And there's our one individual little yolk. I've got no idea. The t-shirt's from an op shop, and I think the brand is Silent Fairy. But look, the back might say, yeah, oh, I know it's not offensive, but I forget what the thing actually did say. What's the egg for? The egg here, this little egg, is going to be put into here. Prepare yourself. All of that, and this time we're going to get a little bit more belligerent with it, because we're going to add a little bit of water, but predominantly it's going to be about 2 parts egg, 1 part water. Sip for me too. And then we're going to get a blue and green duo. No, let's grab this one. This is what I want. Blue purple. Wild. There we go. That's what I want. Blue purple. Fantastic. And wipe off our brush. Quick yolk. Fair, fair. Yep. You're going to have some crack up egg puns coming in here shortly, I bet. So I'll show you this here. This is our whole blend. So you can see there a little bit of water, the egg yolk, and then the blue pigment on top. Yeah, yum. This is how you make green eggs and ham. Mix this up here. Just take your time. If you splash it too much, mix it like a madman, what will end up happening is the powder will bounce out all over the place. You don't want that. You want the powder to stay in the cup. Okay, here we go. So this is a blue and purple pigment. It looked largely blue, but it's got a little bit of purple in there too. So I'll show you what we've got here. It's a very, very cool color actually. I'll just get it properly mixed in, because like I say, you can't have any of that dust left. There we go. That's our color. All right, let's put this on up. Move that chair out of the way. We haven't got as much of this, so we only did a few egg yolks, but it's going to give us a few of those blacks to pump out on. And why we're using egg yolk? Because it lasts the longest out of all the painting methods. It has the greatest pigmentation out of all the painting methods. It has the most incredible way of using light. When light hits it, it has this iridescent feature, as if the light's coming from inside the artwork. It is one of the oldest painting methods that ever existed. It won't go yellow after 500 years if it's looked after properly, like oil and acrylic will. It's been proven to last for 2,500 years. It is organic. It involves very, very few chemicals, and it's non-toxic. So if you can get a method that's non-toxic, that uses less synthetic chemicals, that lasts for longer and gets better color, tell me why you wouldn't use egg. Hey Jay, how you doing? So in that sense, eggs basically the go-to. But the reason why you never really hear about it is Tegel doesn't sell paint, so there's not really a sales pitch there. But the only big issue with it, if you're talking about ergonomic behavior with the tools you're using, is the problem that comes in with egg. The problem that comes in with egg is the fact that egg itself does take a little bit of time to prepare. We're making one color at a time. It's called egg tempera, not tempura like deep fried veggies, but tempera. And tempera is the most phenomenal way of painting. Some very famous paintings that you may have seen in real life or as online or wherever were likely made with this method. So, gets a gold star from me. If you want to look it up, just search egg painting, egg tempera painting, and they'll show up all over the show. But they're fantastic. They have a whole new quality when you see them in person. They really do shine. Eggs dry, almost like a crystal. And so, although they're not this glistening metallic color, well, this one is, but although the eggs are not glistening and metallic, they shine like crystals. Imagine pink shining like a crystal. That's why this is such a cool medium. And the other thing that took people away from it in the early Renaissance period was coming along, and the Renaissance period was coupled by the invention of oil paints, or the proliferation of them in artwork. And they were favoured because oil paints, even though they had all the strong solvents and chemicals in them, were the most favoured things because they took forever to dry. So you could spend a lot of time on detail, getting it just right. But when it comes to egg, you get, like, here I am painting with the egg right now. As I'm painting, that first layer of scarlet has dried, the white has dried, the grey has almost dried, and the blue, it's going on almost tacky-like because it's drying so fast because we didn't put as much water in it. So this stuff really tries to dry out. Think about when you have an omelette, an Eggs Benedict in a store somewhere, and when you order it, if you left it on the plate there, the eggs start actually going hard and things. Like when you get the Eggs Benedict, you pop the yolk and the yolk goes on the plate and then starts sticking to the plate and you have to scrape it off with your knife. That's exactly the speed in which this paint tries to dry as well. It's lightning, guys. So that's not great if you're trying to do really, really perfect pinpoint realism detail like they were back in the Renaissance period. But for us, as we're doing multiple coats with this transparency through it, that helps us. We're into that. Oh, thanks, WhatsApp. What's up? I appreciate that. I appreciate that. At the end of the day, guys, this piece here is an experimental piece. It's done for fun. So we're not trying to make a commission. We're not trying to make it anything in particular. If anything, this is our sacrificial piece for other bits like Hula Girl and The Boy with the Dog that we're working on separately. The reason why it's a sacrificial piece, I hate that term, but it is, in that we're trying different painting techniques that could work or could drastically fail. And because we're taking that risk, we do that off the commission. We take the risk on this piece here. If it works, fantastic, we've got an amazing piece. And if it fails, then we don't ruin the commission and therefore affect what a client's going to get. But it allows us to play with it. This one here has had so many layers on it, it's getting silly. But what I want to see is how the egg takes layer after layer if I keep changing the viscosity and throwing wild cards at it. And in this case, using metallic pigments. But no, I'm going to get that great magenta. And man, we're going to have some fun. Adding that magenta. Oh yeah. Anyway, a little bit of this through here. Got to be careful putting on the egg tempera too thick without water though, because one thing that can happen is it can get just a little bit chalky. Chalky, you know, dust like at the gym that they use to climb on the monkey bars with, or just dust on a whiteboard or a blackboard. We have this how it turns to just literally just chalk is what paint can do if it doesn't have enough binder. Binder's the thing that makes the paint not just be powdered pigment and want to stick to the surface. So with oil paint, the binder is oil. Watercolor, the binder, you guessed it, is watercolor. But, see, look at this. This is pretty cool by itself. Check that out, that little pattern there. What's going on in the back there? Pretty funky. That's because the different temperas that we mix have different viscosities. And so they're just combining just a little bit differently on that plate. Kind of cool. The last thing we'd ever want to happen is that to start happening to a commission. So that's why we experiment here. And I think we're going to actually push that effect at some stage, because that will be happening with a lower viscosity into a higher viscosity. So now we can intentionally cause that effect. Oh, thanks, Natalie. So I'll just scroll back there a little bit. Hello, Lily. Painting muses. I've got a few. I typically don't work with a live model. I work with a photo. But there is this amazingly primal, fun and raw connection when you do have a live model in the room. It's not so much just there's an artist with a viewpoint creating a piece, or transposing emotion onto a piece. There's a bit where you actually, with a person being painted, especially when they're looking straight at you, there's this weird, would you call it a fourth wall break? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to explain it. Imagine someone watching you while you paint them to create a picture that then everyone else sees. There's a moment in there which is interesting. Here we go. Oh, that's fantastic, Griffin. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's most relevant when the live model's staring straight at you. But yes, it has that. It does create more fun in the room for the creation process. I don't think it has a unique outcome on the actual finished result some of the times. Sometimes, Natalie, I would absolutely love that. But sometimes the result itself can be made from a photo or the model. What you've done, though, is had a massive impact to the actual space in which the artwork's made. You're viewing it in an entirely different way, which, big thumbs up from me. I love that. A lot of artists who are working in isolation probably absolutely love the idea of having someone in their studio involved in the process. Not just that, but also silently, which a lot of artists prefer that because then they don't have any distractions. Emotional connection, yeah. I typically find sometimes when doing commissions of, not commissions, but faces of loved ones and family, I struggle a wee bit more. And the reason I struggle is I've got my predisposition of what I think they look like and what I think's important features of their face. And that's usually incorrect. So you need to spend more time psychologically being aware of what things are the shapes and colors and moments and tones of their face, and what things are just things that you, in your own mind, have transposed onto them and think that's the case. Oh, Brian has great ears. Oh, Alex has a strong jawline. And so you overemphasize, or know you're going to overemphasize, recalibrate, and underemphasize. So sometimes painting strangers, you can actually capture more reality. But definitely, if you had a model in the room, there would be a connection there. And a lot of the time with artists, they're doing things like seductive nude work, some of the times. And those seductive nudes, obviously the connection there has this intimate element to it. But there's so much more in the spectrum of human emotions that you can capture. And if there's a platonic connection with the person you're painting, joy, laughter, all the sorts of other emotions and complexities and depth in a relationship that you can have, absolutely this creates fascinating portraits. But a lot of the time, especially people not from the art world, hear, ooh, you do live drawing? So there's someone nude? And you're like, yeah, there is, but it's a lot more than that. And so there's a simplification of that field that comes into it, which is very incorrect, because the goal isn't to capture nudity. The goal is to capture something deeper through nudity. And you really have to go to a live painting class to experience that. But honestly, some of the time, as you're painting a nude model, the person who's the least naked in the room is the model. Not physically, but you can really expose a lot about yourself when you're trying to capture someone else. I know that sounds very cheesy, but when you look back at the pictures you've drawn of a nude model, of someone who's exposed themselves in the middle of the room and sitting in a chair or just standing, and then you look at the pictures that you've made, you can see features and moments and shadows and shapes that you overemphasize or ignored, and you're like, so that's the way my mind works. That's what I saw as valuable about her person in this moment. And it's a fascinating thing that we can do. Love this. This is interesting. It's like a bluey green. We'll roll with this. Okay, next color. Let's add some saturation. And it comes. So this is going to be a really poppy blue, and every time this blue goes over black, it comes out a little bit more green. It's got a very, very interesting quality. Naughty, actually. Yeah, but if you haven't ever done a life drawing class, don't think you have to be good at drawing to go along to one. That's ridiculous. Go along to one and experience what it feels like to actually have a connection with other human beings, strangers, in a way that actually you're producing art. Kind of fun. Kind of fun. Much less to do with what the art is that gets made. Much more to do with the fact you're making art. You got me excited about doing muses again, but no, I like photographs because then no one needs to wait on me. And if I was to paint with people, I'd paint with a group of people who wanted to share the moment and we could all paint together. But yeah, because sometimes the muses actually need a lot of energy if you're not going to photograph them, to hold positions. That's why a lot of the positions that you do see muses in are laid back and relaxed positions, because they're in them for hours and hours and hours. And the more dynamic positions typically have less of this intensity to their standing point. Consistency, yeah, consistency's tough, Lily. But you've got to make your craft sacred. I keep saying that. When your craft becomes sacred, such that you will make time for it, and you believe in it and care about it, it takes it to another level. Maybe what gets created doesn't change, but your attitude towards it is forever altered. And it's so important to have that attitude of your artwork being sacred. Not to the rest of the world. They don't matter. But to you. Do you find what you make, or the fact that you're making it, something worth protecting, something worth pursuing? And if you do, you'll find time for it. And make sure that thing that you're protecting is a process. You hear this again for those who are always around, a process that rejuvenates you. God, that's important. Don't let it be a process that drains you. If it's a draining process, how are you possibly going to find time to do it every day? Those who go to the gym every day don't go because it drains them. They enjoy it. They've found a way to love it. They've got a great playlist, a great group of friends, a great whatever. You need to do that with your craft. Whether it's, Tim, that's weird. Yes. One thing about that, most importantly, is yes. There's a new person in the room, and some people get very weird about that. But the important thing to do is to realize that actually they're not sexualized. They're sitting in a chair nude to be painted or drawn by people. The viewer looking on them and saying, I'm aroused, is sexualizing them. And that's fascinating, because if you were going to draw that person, I'd be fascinated to see the pictures that you made, because essentially your eyes and your brain has turned them into an element of just sex. And so what are you going to miss out on there? Well, definitely their personality, definitely what makes them unique as an individual, definitely their character. You're going to lose those things. And honestly, those are the most fascinating parts of an individual. So in those live drawing classes, and if you are talking about people who do model for live drawings and have the confidence to sit there in a room of people, we're talking 20 people, 10 people, whoever, and sit in a chair nude with their body on display, with all their insecurities out so everyone can see them, to actually be captured by those other artists, their confidence in doing that is absolutely phenomenal. And all we have to do in return is, is show them respect. And the respect we can show them is by not sexualizing them unnecessarily. So I love those classes. And actually that was happening in the, yes, thanks Jay Smith. That was happening in the old studio that I was at. One of the artists ran them, and he's fantastic. He does figure drawing like no one you'd ever believe. He's an absolute champion. And they've created a space that's so respectful and so safe that even the other artists will take turns modeling in those spaces because they feel that level of comfort. That doesn't happen when certain comments or emotions or, dare I say it, predatory behavior shows up in those spaces. You can kiss that goodbye and you miss out on something far, far more valuable. So that's how I feel about that. Sorry for the lecture. Poor old Tim's not gonna feel too comfortable saying that in many other rooms again, but I'm sorry, Tim, but I feel passionately about that. Thanks, Broad. I appreciate you. This Kel is landing in a bunch of different ways. That's kind of fun. It's a really, really poppy blue. It's nice. There we go. It's funny, it actually, in its punnet, it looks more green, but as it hits the canvas, it's definitely turning blue, which is sort of wild. We got this red underneath, we got this salmon, we now got this turquoisey, tealy, bluey thing. And we're just going through the colours. The grey's dry, completely dry. And the Lady of Liberty is not. There's a few people who are looking at her But I've told them all to wait because she's changing so drastically every time we put a coat on her that it's not really fair to say to even put a deposit down or think you'll take her, being that she'll drastically change over and over again. And plus, because we're doing a few experiments on her, we do run the risk of ruining her. You can't sell a painting which may become ruined at any second. But that risk we run in the current day, that risk we're running of possibly ruining her, is exactly what's going to make her something special if we get there. If we get there. Big if. Big if. There we go. A little bit through there. A little bit through there. Beautiful. The next one, I want to grab something with a bit of kick to it. A bit of fun kick. We've got a lot of these darker tones playing roles in the picture now. And I want to grab something that's really going to flick some energy onto the canvas. Beautiful. You're welcome. You're welcome. We've only got 45 people here, so I've got plenty of time to respond. I reckon that's entirely fair. There we go. We're going to splash a little bit through here. Then we'll put this one down, come back to that one. And we're going to make a very, very powerful, it's going to be wild. And how's the, let's just check this here. How's your color palette turning out there? I'm going to turn these lights a little bit around here. There we go. And then this one here can come around here a little bit. We're just trying to do a little bit of an adjustment to try and help. No difference there. It's just shimmering a little bit at the bottom quite weirdly. I'm just trying to see if I can fix that. That makes it worse. Move it out. Does that help? A little bit. It's going to help a little bit. Not a whole lot, but it's going to help a little bit. What if I pull it out a little bit further? Turn that one away. Am I improving it for you guys, or am I making it worse? It's hard to know. Hard to know. I think it was best where it was before, if anything. There we go. It's not ideal with that lighting, is it? But we might just run with it, guys. There we go. Yes, it is. It is the elephant that you can see there. Very funky. It's a print of it. That is my print, which I like. And now we're going to move on with some bright yellow. Here we go. It's got a little bit more egg over here that we're going to use up. Da-da-dee-da-do. Da-da-da-do. This one here. I'm going to use up all of this. Bright yellow. Bright yellow, bright yellow. And then if I've got some here, micro pearl. So micro pearl is going to add just a little bit of a white glint to it. Just a little bit. Not too much. Not too much. Just enough. Just enough. I'm going to put that over there. There we go. Going to grab a fresh brush because this colour's a little bit weaker. Grab this spread out one here. Hey Alex Becker, how we doing? You'll need to mark up. Well, Ray, the actual the cost of eggs to paint is pretty similar, but yeah. The bonus here is too though we're only using the egg yolks, and since we're only using the egg yolks, I've still got a whole bunch. Oops, splashed out some pigment there of whites, and leftover bits of yolk that we can turn into a protein shake, which is pretty cool. Brad, hello in Florida, Ireland. What else have we got here, guys? We've got Florida, we've got Ireland. We've got here a little bit out of place. This is New Zealand. This is the North Island in Auckland. Aucklander. There we go. Mix this in here. Beautiful. Get all that down in here. Voila. All of that. Netherlands, Kansas, South Island. Yeah, I take breaks, but we're having some fun today. This isn't too serious. We're just waiting for... I'm picking up some pigments later on today to do a proper job on our Maui girl and boy with dog. So that's inbound. Ireland looks like curry sauce. Ah, he caught me. It actually is. I'm just mixing up a whole bunch of tempura here. Sorry, some, what's it called? Turmeric. Why mix the brush instead, hold on. Why mix the brush instead of whisk or something? Because if I whisk the eggs too much, I might get pavlova, which is fantastic. It's a great New Zealand dish, but with these eggs, you do run the risk of over whisking. So we just do a little bit. See this? Just a little dabbing until I get all those pigment blotches sorted out. Just like when you're mixing a cake, you want the flour lumps done. But I think the best way to put it is you actually, rather than mixing it in, I think there's more of a folding in. I think that's a word with cooking, isn't it? Folding in the ingredients. Jura, Australia, France. So we got a couple from France. We've got LA. We've got the Netherlands. I used to work with a waiter from the Netherlands. Her name was Elsa, and she was absolutely lovely. One of the best waiters in the whole restaurant. She was just had the nicest personality, had the busiest section, and everyone just loved her. So, as a mascot of the Netherlands, she gets a gold star from me. Canada and Sweden, that's exciting. Canada and Sweden. We've got Swiss Army knives, Swiss chocolate. And I do like Jimmy Hortons. Jimmy Hortons is fantastic. Junior. I used to live at the Mount when I was younger. Wasn't much of a surfer. I went to Little Nippers, which is the lifeguarding thing they do. Just going to get a slightly bigger brush. There's a few more little bits here. We'll just mix in gently. There we go. There we go. Now we're in this colour where we want it. I think to thicken it up just the right extent, I'm going to add one more egg yolk in there though. Just get it just right. Kansas, California, and South Africa. That's fantastic. I've got a few messages from the South African fans I need to get back to. A lot of people were really excited at the idea that I might be showing up in South Africa, but it turns out with the announcement of being a dad, plans have changed just a little bit. So we'll be re-altering the trip schedule. Here we go. One little egg. One little egg. Then we're going to pop this across here. Arkansas. Arkansas. All right. I'll remember forevermore. Wait, Arkansas? Or are you making fun of accents? It's hard to know. I thought it was Arkansas. There we go. One more little egg in there. Mix that up and good. There we go. Move it over to there. Well, actually, the eggs don't smell. The eggs don't smell. You add the pigment to them. They don't really have that much scent at all. If they're fresh eggs don't really, when you cook an egg smells, but when you get a fresh egg and you dry it out immediately, it doesn't ever really get a stench to it whatsoever. It dries within 20 seconds to 20 minutes once it's on the painting, and after that, nothing. So I understand the question and the interest in it, but actually, it's really not. I thought it would be an issue, but it's zero. Because I had all my air extracting things from regular paint, so I wasn't too worried, but then when it had zero effect, that caught my interest in gaze. I thought, what do you mean? Zero effect. Because that's pretty low. That's as low as you can get without going negatives. If you do put your face right up to the painting, just after it's been done, and sniff, you can get a little bit of an egg smell, but only just. There we go. Let's get a little bit more through here. And a little bit more up here. What's our time at, team? Okay. Get another 22 minutes, I think. Then I need to dash. It's just enough time to get this on here. And run off on another colour tangent. We did well, actually. We got through almost all our eggs. There's 3 left. 3 little eggs left. Whoop! And he dropped his brush. How tragic. The final is silent. Oh. I'm following now. I'm following. There we go. Splay that over the shoulder there a little bit. Coming on down. And it's funny, the light catches this in a really crazy way. You'll see that actually it's shining back on you almost completely silver. And the reason it's doing that is because of the egg capturing and reflecting light so differently from regular oils or acrylics, which is kind of cool. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. And then down in here as well. This is that powerful yellow colour. Wow. That's the plan. Egg white omelette by the looks of it. There we go. And then I'm going to get a little bit of this white and splice this into it. Yeah, we're going to get a few more lighter tints in there. So we've gone into a little bit of a darker palette, but that's just to define. Then we bring it back. We bring it back, we set it dark, we bring it back, we set it dark, and what you'll get is a whole bunch of pigments. I'll tell you what, I did say before though, we'd do a zoom in, and I didn't. So I'll tell you what, let me get some zooming for you, and that'll allow us to see through the crazy colors we've got going on right now. You ready? Hey JJ. All right. Who's ready to zoom in on our crazy lady? Here we go. In we go. We're going to go in right on her neck. Prepare yourselves. Going on in. And as we get closer, you'll start to see a whole bunch of those layers become obvious. So about here, we can see those pinks coming through, those reds, those greens. We just put those blues on, and there's a couple of little whites there. The yellow's livening up the entire thing. As we get to this stage, those reds are underlying there, as if heat's coming out from inside of her, which is kind of cool. And blue's making like a fire and ice kind of dance. And as we come closer again, get to this stage, it just becomes wild paint. We've got little strokes of colours all over the show. And then as you get right in here close, you start seeing all these dancing colours. Just playing with each other. Not trying to show anything up close. But from a distance, everything exists. So that's what we're working with here. That's what we're working with. Lots of different colours, bouncing over each other, running in all directions, going a bit crazy. A bit crazy, guys. That's the key. Maybe that should be the in the artist bio, rather than whatever you are, be a good one. Just right, a bit crazy. Here we go. So this is now more of an omelette colour, creamy. There we go. I'll just spin this around. Day's been fantastic, JJ. Fantastic. We're not going to be around the whole time, though. We're going to dash off to do some thingy things around town. Most importantly, picking up my pigments so I can attack these works that I won't stop talking about. But before that, I'll just enjoy seeing if Lady Liberty wants to come together for us. Does she want to come together for us? That's the question. There we go. So this is the same as the yellow we had, but the only difference is we've chucked in just a little bit of white to it. So it still has that underlying yellow effect, but you'll notice you're like, oh, it's just a little more creamy, a little more white, changing it just a little bit more. And then just a little bit through here. There we go. Up through here. Dabble, dabble, dabble. Here we go. So many colours all over the top of each other. That's what we want. Just endless layers and moments of interest. That's what we're after. Constantly drawing you back in, spinning you around, spitting you out, sending you in a new little pocket of colour and shape. If anything, it doesn't want to be boring. It just wants to keep pulling you around through the story of, what would you say, the story of this lady. The Lady Liberty. Look at me, I'm Lady Liberty. There we go. Here we go. Beautiful. Aloha. Aloha. Is that Jules coming in or someone else coming in? I thought Jules was already here. Here we go. A little bit here. And a little bit here. There we go. Get that drip. 2 more. There we go. And then across the side of this building, all the way to the top. There we go. Little dabs. Perfect. That's what I'm after. Lovely. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Just in here a little bit. Perfect. And I wonder if we can combine something into here. Yeah, let's do this. This is going to get really fiery now. Have I seen the inside of the Statue of Liberty? Nope, I have not. I have not. Stood, I've been on a boat, little like one of those little boats that goes close to her. But no, never inside her. Would love to. I can't imagine the view of the Statue of Liberty as good, because the idea is you actually see her from a distance. Aha! You're all good, Jules. You get on out of here. We're just going to throw around some warm pinky yellows, and then I'm going to dash off 2 in the next sort of 12 minutes. So you're not going to miss a whole lot. But I appreciate you being here. And if we do come on later in the night too, it'll be fun because the light won't be reflecting like this on it. Oh, birthing. Everyone's leaving. It's all right, guys. I'll hang out here by myself. It's all good. I'm fine. I'm fine. Here we go. Catch you later, guys. Here we go. Smurr this around. There we go. So this is going to be like a salmon-y, intensified pink. A little bit of yellow through it, so it's going to capture a few of those yellow colours. It's almost, dare I say, it's full circle back to the little colour we did have, but not quite. There we go. Beautiful. There we go. Lash it around here. Now we're talking to it. Just down through there. Up there. Across here. Hello, Lady Liberty. And then just get a little bit through here. There we go. here. And we will pause there, you wild bunch. There we go. Mary, it sounds like you've been weird. You used to be able to go up to the torch and look at it. Wow! Steve, fun fact. I didn't know that. Good one. Good one. We'll pause there and give Our Lady Liberty a time. Now, I know I say this dries straight away, but actually, one of the wild cards with it is it, after you put a lot of layers on, it does get just a little bit tacky. But this is all right. I'm just going to get a couple of these little drips and make sure they don't run too much. Like I say, I got this pet peeve, guys. My little thing. If you had a little like thing that got to you, for me, it's drips. They're like the opposite of a perky painting. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you today. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to have my last little sip of coffee, wash my 3 brushes, and make a protein shake out of all those remaining eggs. So that's a fun little plan. Apart from that, very, very exciting. I'll send some shots through of the pigments I'm after. And you know what? I might take this little mic with me and the phone into the art store, and I'll show you what I'm after. We'll see though, if they let me. If I don't put up a recording of me going to the art store and buying the pigments and showing you the colours I'm after, and that little yarn I gave you about the series and things like that, then they didn't let me do it. But if I do it, they let me do it. So I'll see you on that later. You're a champion, Jules. Thanks for hanging around, and get some sleep. And Jay Smith, always a pleasure, you legend. Same with you. Steve, great to have you here. Sorry we weren't kicking up on the Maui dancer, but like I say, I don't want to be using these pigments. They're fun. They do metallic, cool effects, but they're not what we're after. I want the good stuff. I want my ridiculously expensive magenta to do the proper things we need to be doing. Anyway, cheers, Jesse, and Broadway Steve. Well, honestly, Broadway Steve, I still think the best view of the Statue of Liberty is from a distance. And I think it's pretty cool that you can jump on a boat and do a trip around her. They'll give you a wine while you do it, and you get to just appreciate some of the cool sights of America. That one, Washington, D.C. has a few, but my most favorite place of all, if you've been around a few times, you know this, my favorite place, is it in the world? Definitely in America. My favorite place in America is the view is fantastic. That's true. That's true, Steve. You know what? It's not all about the Liberty statue. It's about the view. Correct. And my favorite place of all is Yellowstone. Josh, no, I don't. Jeepers creepers. My favorite place is Yellowstone. The most incredible, untouched wilderness. But you've got these foxes and wolves and elk and all these things right there to be seen from your car. And then you pull into a cafe with Wi-Fi and bathrooms and coffee. And then you go along and go to a campsite with the most fantastic camping facilities. It's just the best. Guys, I love Yellowstone. If you're in America, go to... don't take my advice, do whatever you want to do, but go to places like Yellowstone, like Grand Tetons, like Great Mammoth National Park, Smoky Mountains National Park. Grand Tetons was phenomenal. I love that place. Where else did it go? Honestly, the best storms I've ever seen, little thundercloud cells moving around Yellowstone, the walks around Yellowstone, the park rangers. Guys, I've never seen nicer park rangers, never heard of nice park rangers, haven't met better park rangers than what I've met in America. You guys, everything about your national parks is just primo. Anyway, I've got to disappear, guys. You're all a bunch of champions. Jesse, good luck with your thunder. And wishing you all the best, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye for now. I have to lean forward and stop it, but bye.